If you feel like you've been training chest recently, and when you're training, you're like, I can't really feel it that much. Like, when I train my bicep, holy fuck, I know I'm training my bicep, I can feel it. When I'm training my quads, I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know you're training your quads. But with the pecs, it's one of them where you can train chest and not really feel it that much. And let me tell you from my painful experience, when you don't feel it that much, you're also probably not really training it. Because if you can't feel the working muscle engaged, then you can bet your bottom dollar that it's not really getting that much stimulus, because if it was, you would fucking feel it. So why am I qualified to make this video? Well, this is how my chest was looking as of late, but let me tell you, it wasn't always like that. I used to have a chest like this, so, so just know I've come through the problem. It was not nice to have a chest like this. I spoke in previous videos, this shoulder was always a little bit more protracted, so this pec was always smaller, less engaged. I mean, I'm not going to say this pec was smaller, my pecs were fucking small in general, let's be honest. So that's why I feel I'm qualified to talk about this, because I've come through it the other side. I've learned how to contract your chest and then ultimately grow one a little bit bigger. Don't get me wrong, mate. There's still a long way for me to go. I know that for sure. But why I wanted to make this video was 2 times this week, today and on Monday, I was like, I'm really fucking feeling my chest. Every time I train, this has happened for a good solid year now. I felt my chest, it's growing, it looks bigger in a t-shirt, there's a little crease in between the 2 pecs, there's a bit of a shelf coming on, and it's nice, it's really fucking nice. Because this was, honestly, the biggest pain point of my life was how to contract my chest. I watched a few videos on it, but I've just learned the hard way and just figured it out. So I'm going to give to you in this video everything I've learned, and my promise to you is that you'll know how to feel your chest, and then you'll have 3 exercises that you're going to aim to get good at, which are going to build up your chest. These are the 3 that work really well for me. I'd say try them. Should you have heard of them before? Absolutely. But I'm going to give you why I think these are the ones to get good at, and the rest you can kind of like just have in your back pocket as reserves. So how we are going to achieve this is, first of all, we're going to discuss the anatomy of the chest, just so it's very clear that you understand where is the origin, where is the insertion, and then with that you know how the function of the chest operates, and then the arm path, as in how you need to move your arm in relation to contracting the pec, and then I'm going to give you the exercises, why I think they work well, how to perform them properly, so you can get the most out of it. So let's look at the anatomy to start with my fancy ass drawings. Now, these lines denote muscle fibers. Now, your pecs start here. The origin part of the muscle starts here, around the sternum bone. And now they run across in this fashion, and they insert onto your upper arm, onto your humerus. Now, the function of the chest is to move your upper arm towards the midline of the body. We would call this horizontal adduction, because we're adding. If it would be abduction, if you'd be taken away. So the function of the chest is essentially to bring your upper arm towards the midline of the body. Now, with that in mind, if that is the function, then we want to do exactly that when we need to train it. We need to bring the origin and the insertion point together with the load in the middle, and that is how you will contract it. So for the longest of time, I have pressed weights up and down from A to B, got strong at the bench press. In fact, let me show you. Okay, you're going to see a quick 1 RM here on the bench. Form critiques welcome in the comments. One more time. Look at the reaction. That was 140, by the way, 140 on the bar. Look at my hips. Yeah, come off, fine. I'm happy to be beasted in the comments for that, but that was a pretty good PB. And then another one, 120, just pressing for 5. Just getting aggressive, getting it moving. A to B, bang, bang, bang. No real thought about it, just moving the load up from A to B. Now, why do I mention this? Well, now if I'm thinking just press the load up, I'm not thinking about bringing the origin and insertion together, because I'm just thinking about bringing the load upwards. That's why a barbell, they're good, but people think when they press back up, they're going to be able to contract their pecs, but kind of not, but not really, because you're not really, like, your hands are stuck to this bar object that you can't really move anywhere. Like, you may have seen people have got these fancy grips on the bar, when you push them, they go in. That's kind of cool, and that would kind of solve the issue. But for the longest of time, I would press the weight up from A to B without really thinking about contracting the chest. And the reason that falls down and we have problems with that is let alone like people when they press, they will protract their shoulders forward. They'll lift everything they can so their shoulders will end up taking over. So you've seen people at the top of the movement where they press the load up and then they press as far up as they can, and now their body kind of looks like this. It's rotating inwards and the tension's on their shoulder and it goes off the pecs. So we want to take in mind now and take this into the next exercises that I show. We want to drive your humerus towards the midline of the body with the load in the middle to contract the pecs. So that is something to think about with the arm path. I'm going to use the exercises to talk about arm path. Let's roll into the first one. So an exercise that's going to do this very well will be a pec deck. And I've programmed this first for the longest period of time because it does exactly the function of the chest. Look at the setup we've got it in. We've got your humerus and we've got the start, the origin point. This is literally drive the origin towards the insertion with load in the middle. Now I'll tell you how you can do this exercise wrong and how people do get it wrong. They will press the load from their hands. Now, it's not that that's inherently wrong, but I guarantee when you press the load from your hands, you will feel it more in your shoulders. What I want you to think about doing is imagine your arms were cut off past your elbow and you could only drive your upper arms together. Remember, the focus point is here, so you want to drive from the focus point towards the center of the body. You may have seen it in some gyms, they've got those pads where you can only put your upper arm in. They're so much better than actually the handle ones for that reason. So you're here, you're thinking driving the upper arm across the body. That's the perfect arm path if you want to hit your pecs. So this is pretty underrated. Now, as you drive up, stop from here. Try to think that you're going to move this part of your arm before this part of your arm. You're almost like, it's like you can move this first and then the rest will follow. The only analogy I can give you, if you know the boxer Ryan Garcia, when he throws his left hook, he gets his shoulder in front first and then the arm whips around and fucking snoozes everybody. That's what you're kind of doing with this. You're going to move the bicep first and all this will come after, and that way you're going to engage the pecs. If you move this first and try and engage the pecs right at the last, you're not going to get the best out of the exercise. That's honestly what I found. And for people like us with a smaller chest, these details matter. Fuck, these details matter. Of course, training to failure is going to put a lot of blood into the tissue. Now you've nailed down moving the arm across the body and then putting it under load and getting a lot of significant blood into that pec. Now you're primed. Now you're ready for the next exercise. Now the next exercise is a pretty basic one. I will not sugarcoat that. You have done this exercise before, 100%. But I just want to flip the script of the way you see this exercise. You see, this exercise right now when the joints are stacked over each other, there's not that much load on the pecs. I think you probably agree when you felt this. So don't think about the top of the movement being where all the gains come from. Instead, flip the script. As we now press, as we let the load come down, here, look how much further away the joints are from each other now. We've gone from complete stack to being as far away from each other as they possibly could be. What do you think's holding those joints in place? It's the muscles. So right now, your muscles are at the greatest amount of stretch. And I don't know whether it's been fully proven. I've heard it in the past, and I'm not going to hang my hat on it, where people say there are more gains in the length and position of the muscle, i.e. this here. There might be, but what the length and position allows you is to move a shit ton of load. Because I know for a fact you are strongest in the length and position. Whether you make more gains through eccentric is another argument for another day, and maybe someone smarter than me can tell you that answer. But what you want to focus on is the way down and getting that pause here. Of course, you're going to need to drive it back up, but you're going to think slow on the way down, get the pause. Slow on the way down, get the pause. Now, when you're pressing back up, your mind still wants to be on. My arms have been cut off past my elbow, and all I'm thinking about doing is converging my upper arms back together. Shorten them back together. Keep the shoulders back. You'll notice how my shoulders don't come forward at all when I'm pressing, because I've just drilled it again and again and again. Keep the shoulders back. And when you think about hugging the tree with your biceps, you're not going to think about trying to like wrap around in this position. So this exercise is very, very good. It's very loadable. You can move a shit ton of weight in this position. Maybe I need to up my game and move a bit more than 90 pounds, but you can lift a lot of load through this exercise. So it's a good exercise, and one that I've really doubled down on for that work in the lengthened position. But still the principle applies with the arm path. Being able to converge your arm across your body to shorten the origin and the insertion of the muscle. Now, this is the last exercise you're going to see here. Now, I've just spoken on the last exercise about how the dumbbell press will hit the muscle in a lengthened position at the bottom. Now, when you do an exercise which hits the muscle in the shortened position, which the pec deck cable fly will do, and this will do as well, you will get a more enhanced feeling. If you think about a leg extension, the leg extension hits the muscle in the short position when you're at the top, it's contracted, and that's why it's so fucking intense. Well, this exercise and the previous pec deck will also do that. So in order to feel your chest, this will work very well. Now, last year I made the mistake of only doing 2 exercises where I felt it in the short position. I missed out on a lot of gains because I wasn't really adding a shit ton of load through that lengthened position of the muscle. I've now learned my mistake, and now this is why I've added it all in. Now, the beauty of this machine here is, okay, it hits the muscle in the short position, but you can really think, because everything is fixed, everything is stable, just think about driving that upper arm back across the body, converging that upper arm. Of course, if you converge your upper arm, your lower arm that's connected to the tool will follow suit. It has to, because it's connected to it. So you really want to dial this in. So if you've got this exercise or some form of a machine press, use it, because they're built for a reason. They're built very, very nicely for a reason, especially if you've got a plate loaded juicy one like this. Obviously this was today session actually, and you can load this up and you can really work it. Now these exercises, they get harder as you go towards the top. So you'll fail at the top, whereas on a dumbbell press you'll fail coming out of the bottom. These are also just things to consider. So hopefully in this short video you understand the anatomy of the pecs, where it starts, where it inserts onto. You understand the arm path in order to get that contraction with the load, and then you've got 3 exercises that you can really start to double down on. The first one that's going to really nail down that arm path of moving your upper arm across into the center of your body, getting blood into the area. Also hitting it in the short position where we know we're going to feel it a little bit more, which is half of the problem that we're facing. We've then got the second exercise, which is our loadable, juicy exercise that we're going to feel it in the lengthened position, but we're still thinking converge the upper arm back across the body, keeping the shoulder back. And then the last exercise we've got where we can really send a lot of load through it, and it's going to also hit the muscle in the short position, but still all we then need to focus on, because it's a stable machine, just converging our biceps together. I hope you found this video useful. Try it, see if you get gains from it and you feel a better contraction on your pecs. It's something that's worked really well for me, so I just wanted to share this with you. Am I always right? Yes. Not really joking, I'm not really. But if you found value in this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you tomorrow.